So if you're in a study for 14 days or a month, you're not spending a single cent. So if $300 was in your bank account when you checked into the study, and then when you check out, that $300 is still there, plus, the 20K you're about to get on top of that. So graphics, music, produced by Tracy. Now to the video. All right, listen up real quick. I want to share with you a story about how I uncovered the link between your earning potential and depression, and how if you're not reaching your earning potential is how depression will sink in. It's going to be quite of a long story, but it's important that you stick through with me throughout the entirety of this video, because it's actually a really good story, or at least I think so. I just got off the phone with two of my friends. We're on three-way, and that's something that we never do, and it's something that I just don't talk to my friends enough. I'm full-time married, like most men. You don't really hang out with your friends. You don't even live in the same city that you went to, your college, universities at, and maybe you went to high school and elementary and middle school together, all your friends, and you've moved, you don't see them anymore. Nonetheless, we were on the phone three-way. We were just talking, and something came up, a whole chapter of my life that I completely forgot that happened. This story is going to be about healthy subject studies. This is something in my life that I've done that I'm not proud of, but I am not ashamed to share it. If you don't know what healthy subject studies are, that's when if you're a healthy subject, a healthy person, you have the correct BMI, you don't have an illness or anything like that, you can get into a study where they test drugs that are already FDA approved, but they want to see what its effects are on the blood. I don't know why they do this. I never looked into it. Frankly, I don't care. They pay you a lot of money, large sums of money at one time. And this was in my 20s. Real quick, I went to a four-year university. I didn't know what to do after high school, but I went to university. I graduated. I believed the lie. I thought that, with your bachelor's, you're going to be well off, you're going to be rich, and everything is going to be great, and you're going to be happy because you're going to make a good salary. And they lied. Particularly in my textbooks, they said that in 2010, when there's going to be a need for nurses, male nurses, there's going to be a need for like male teachers and like all this stuff. So I chose the path of teachers. I always wanted to be a teacher. I thought it was so fun. I've always enjoyed school. I enjoy people. That's where the people are. And I'm really learning that about myself now, because I've always worked at institutions where there's always like large sums of people, where I work at a hospital or, a big mall or something like that. And I've always worked in places where there's always people. Anyways, I'm digressing. So, the textbook said that there is a need for teachers, male teachers and coaches, and turns out in 2010 when I graduated, they did the exact opposite. And they, like, Texas, like, let go like a bunch of teachers. Of like a shortage or something like that. I don't know why it happened. I never looked into it. Graduated, and immediately after graduation, I started working at Cheddar's as a freaking server. Yeah, I graduated from my university, moved to Austin, this big city, moved in with my mom after graduation and started working at Cheddar's. And I was in a really bad place. But I also cut hair, and so that was like one of my side hustles. Like I cut hair, like just in my restroom, like on a toilet, and I'm really good at it. One of my homies who also graduated was passing through, and I cut his hair, and he told me about healthy subject studies. And so happened, Austin, Texas is the highest paying healthy subject study like in the United States. Like I'm talking 15K, 20K, all at once, and if you've never had 15K or 20K in your hands or in your bank account at one time ever in your life, this stuff sounded really attractive. I was 24 years old, like starting to catch depression. And when you're having or experiencing depression, you don't know that you're having it. You're just kind of like partying or doing stuff to like take your mind off your sadness or whatever, drinking and stuff. Nonetheless, he told me about healthy subject studies, and I didn't believe him. I'm like, there's no way that they're giving this kind of money. We're on the phone, right? So he comes over, shows me this check of like $5,000. He said, this is just the first installment. They're going to give me like 8K in 3 days, and then another like 3K in like 10 days. Like, I don't know why they like split it up, but still within like a week or two, they give you all the money. So he basically did a study for like 14,000, and it was like I don't know, like an 8 or 10 day study. In these facilities, they're very nice. Real quickly, I'll kind of talk about those. They're like large buildings. PPD is in Austin, Texas, right by the airport. And if you passed it, you wouldn't even know what it is. I remember it's behind a Denny's, and it's hidden. It's like ducked off on this road. And there's theater rooms, there's a computer lab, there's like social. This is like, what, 2010, 11, like the cell phones just start being like, they just converted from like flip phones to like the larger like screens like what we have now. This is kind of like after the Palm Pilots and Trios and BlackBerry. So basically the generations of phones right after BlackBerry. I don't even know why I even brought that up, but maybe it'll come up later. Well, I remember why I brought it up. It's because social media wasn't really popping yet. There was like Plenty of Fish, Facebook, like MySpace died already. And then, so anyways, while you're in these studies, like you can't leave, like you check in, you have to get tested, they have to make sure that you're clean. They have to weigh you in. I remember I was always at 200 pounds, like my whole life. I was 200 pounds since 4th grade, and I'm only 5'8", right? So I remember, always being at the cusp of like barely getting in and having anxiety of like getting into these studies, but I didn't believe my friend. Then I saw it was like a real thing, like, no way, they're paying this kind of money. Get into the study. So anyways, there's game rooms, there's theaters, there's different wings and halls, and you wear like these different color shirts to like represent what study you're in, and you're just getting blood taken from you. You're like a zombie, but like eventually you have freedoms and stuff. There's a lot of fun. You meet a lot of interesting people. You'll meet bums. You'll meet well-to-do people. You meet people who are like professional, healthy subjectors, to where they travel the world, and then like they do studies in different cities. I know you're not supposed to do that, but they'll check into a study and then get out and then check into another study in another city. Because like you're not always guaranteed, like their studies always going on every month, but there's like a grace period you have to wait for, like, I don't know, half-life of drugs to like pass through or something. But like this is where I started to get this is where I developed anxiety, I think, and when I developed like the most major depression I've ever had. Because what happens is when you're in those studies, while you're inside, you're thinking about all of the things that you want to buy and all the debts you want to pay off while you're inside, right? But then when you get out, you think about all the restaurants you want to eat and all these things that you want to do, because you can't leave. There is no freedom, but there is freedom. You can't leave. No one can come and visit you. No one can give you anything. You can't get McDonald's dropped off. You're just in a study. But another brilliant thing about that is that you're not spending money. And that's why I brought up the year of the phone, because Amazon and eBay wasn't really popping yet. So if you're in a study for 14 days or a month, you're not spending a single cent. So if $300 was in your bank account when you checked into the study, and then when you check out, that $300 is still there, plus, the 20K you're about to get on top of that. So you have like extra cheese. So anyways, back to what I was saying. You spend the money in your head before you even get out. But you're like, all right, I have a $10,000 credit card, which is a big deal for me. I needed to pay it off. It was like a Dillard's credit card. The interest rate was like 22%. Like I need to pay for a lawyer. A story maybe I'll share with you later. we I spent that money with my girlfriend in like 2 weeks. That money was gone. And then, and I have nothing to show for it. All of it was gone. So while you're waiting for a next study to pop off, you're already spending that money in your head for a study that you're not even in yet and you're not even guaranteed to be in. So let's say this next study that I'm looking at starts in 2 weeks and they're going to pay $16,000. I've already spent the $16,000 in my head before I even got it. Also, I already spent the whole 20K of what I thought I was going to spend it on. So I thought I was going to pay off my $10,000 credit card, and I did not. I was like, I'm just going to pay half, 5,000, and then just what happens is that you're in a cycle, and you never pay off that $10,000. The whole reason why I did the study in the first place is to get ahead and to pay off my debts, and I was wrong. I remember I was so embarrassed and I had so much shame of going to these things. I wouldn't tell my girlfriend what I was doing. But I was just so embarrassed. I had shame. I didn't want to tell people what I was doing and where my money came from. I just wanted to I just wanted to get out with this money and then act like I didn't know no one, like riffraff. But anyway, I'm trying to stay on track because I want to tell you about the link between your earning potential and depression. Cat Williams has this great bit about a tiger in a zoo sitting next to a speaker system, and this tiger is really doubting, is he really a tiger? Because he's not reaching his potential out in the wild, roaring, and stuff is supposed to happen because he's the king. But when you don't reach your earning potential, depression will set in. So I'm going to explain that. So this is where the depression starts. Listen up. So you get your 26K within 3 days because they pay you in installments, right? You have that. I have that $10,000 credit card that I'm supposed to pay off, and I go, man, I'll pay 5,000, and then when I go to log in to pay, I end up paying 4,000. So I still have $21,000 left, right? I have a girlfriend at the time, I'm trying to flex, I don't tell her where the money's coming from. Boom. We go on a cruise, like a 7-day cruise. We pay for the flight. I pay for the flight. I pay for the parking. I'm doing all this stunting. And I kid you not, I don't gamble. I don't do anything crazy. I got new brakes on my car, like I got a paint job. Ugh. In 2 weeks, that 26K is gone. And then this is where the cycle comes in. I'm looking at the ads on to when's the next subject? When is the next healthy subject study going to start? And keep in mind, you can only do a study once every 30 days. The nurses in there act as gatekeepers. They get their friends into they call up their friends and they tell them how much money they can make in these many amount of days. So you are not guaranteed to get into a study every 30 days. There are studies like happening multiple times a month, maybe 3 or 4. They all pay different rates, but you want to get into the ones that have the big payouts. They have, studies that are like 4 days. You get $5,000. You get like a 7-day study where it's like $6,000. It's just random what they pay. Some are like I said, some are 30, 40K. Some of them last a month, and some of them you're just like they're only paying 20,000 for a whole month. You're like, no, if I'm going to stay in there for a whole month, you kind of do this math. But anyways, nonetheless, you spend the money in your head before you get it. So, like I said, after 2 weeks, my money is gone. And I'm already looking at the ads. I'm looking at, okay, the next study I'm going to get in is going to be worth 18K. And that one's only going to be for 26 days. So I'm already counting on going to get this money. So I'm down to like my last like $1,000, trying to make it stretch. And my credit card payment is due. I only paid 4,000 and I owe 10, right? My next payment is going to be, $200, of the $1,000 that I have left. We can't do stuff. Me and my girl are fighting because to go outside cost $75 in 2010 just to go outside and do something. And I don't know why I put this pressure on myself to like always have to like do stuff for her. And every time we go out, it was me taking out my wallet, never her. She was like a server at Chili's, or a hostess at Chili's. And but yeah, it would have been great if I could have like worked at the same time, but you have to quit your job. It would be great if as soon as I'm done with the healthy subject study, I can go and clock back in to Cheddar's and start serving to where I can start spending that money and not my study money. But when you make the money fast, it's gone fast. And I don't care who you are or what you say, you think you're going to do smarter with the money. If you are in your 20s, there is no greater time to where you are going to make the stupidest decisions with your money. You're going to buy rims, you're going to buy gold chains, you're going to buy a watch, you're going to, try to impress your friends and just get something dumb or just offer to pay for everyone. And those memories are gone. The only thing that I have to show for these healthy subject studies is that I became a platinum member on Carnival Cruise because we probably sailed for 40 days and 40 nights total, going in and out of these studies. I would probably get into a study like at a rate of like between once every 3 months. And every single time I checked out within a few days, 14 to 20 days, the money would be gone. If you are not making the money that you're supposed to make at the corresponding age, depression will set in. When you're in your 20s, you have this pressure to be attractive for both men and women, to be attractive, handsome, to be buff, fit, have curves if you're a young lady, all these pressures that you have that is put onto you by societal pressures. And then once you reach your 30s, that stuff doesn't matter as much. Now, what you can provide and how many mouths you can feed with that paycheck matters. What if, your girl wants to get pregnant and she decides not to work? Now that pressure is onto you to feed 3 mouths, 4 mouths. And if you are not making, I don't know, now the number is 6 figures. 6 figures always seems to be like the number, maybe realistic, maybe it's like 110 or 120 to be able to like do the stuff that you want. But it's probably like 200,000 now for like a 4 household family. $200,000 is that number for you to be able to go to Disney, go to Six Flags, 2 vacations a year, flights, Airbnb, and be comfortable. If you're making less than that, you will not be in a good place, especially if you're looking at social media and you're judging yourself based off other people's lives. But that's one thing that I really want to share with you guys. It's important to hang out with your friends, contact them, reach them, tell them how much you love them and you miss them, and reminisce some of the good times that you've had. And then just make sure that you don't get caught up in fast money. You want to go to school, crank out your master's, get, a good paying job, and then just work your way up. Mindset is more powerful than you think. All right, lesson learned. Moving on. So the big thing that I learned is that I was trying to keep up with societal pressures to like spend this money that I shouldn't have been spending. I was projecting onto her what I thought that she wanted. So I was spending money on these trips and going to these things and buying these fancy things, things that society was supposed to tell me I was supposed to have, but I wasn't even at the age to where I was even supposed to have those things, if you're following me. Like wasn't supposed to have the house, the fancy car, the one for her, and we match it. I wasn't at that age yet, but I was projecting onto her what she thought that I should have. In reality, she would have accepted me for who I was. And if we didn't take 2 vacations a year or 3 vacations a year, then she still would have been with me. But let me share a story with you where I remember we got into this big catastrophic fight, and I had just got out of a research study, and I thought it was a good idea for us to just like go to the mall and I just buy her a purse because I was wrong in a fight. And we went into the Coach store and I got this high dollar item for her to crush the fight. It was my apology to her, when in reality, I shouldn't have done that at all. We could have moved on, but I spent the money because I had it. You understand? So another lesson that I wanted to share with you is that everything in life that I've learned, I am obligated to share it with you. And what I've learned is that in order to battle depression is to constantly be involved in something. You always want to be moving to the next step versus getting that fancy job. You got this shiny brand new thing and then that luster wears off, but you just kind of just stay there and wait for something to happen and you're not doing anything. You're expecting someone else to promote you or you move up to the next level with just time, although you're not doing anything. And what happens is that depression can set in and find its way in and find its little nest and home inside of you because you're not doing anything to help yourself. So the thing that I want to share with you that I've learned is that you have to constantly always be involved in something that's going to make you better. You always have to be enrolled in school, trying to learn a new language, learning how to play string instruments or piano, or going after a certificate or applying for, you name it, whatever it is. Always be on the move, because what happens is that once you get your master's and you get your diploma or you get that certificate, that shiny brand new luster of whatever material that is, whether if it's a diploma or a new pair of skates or that new purse, it's going to wear off and you're not going to be happy about it anymore. Like, you got this cool new car, now you've had it for 2 months and it's like not new to you anymore. That's always going to go away. You got this brand new salary and your last salary was $55K. Now you're getting paid $75K. After 3 months, $75K is something you've gotten used to. And you're just like, now you're 36 and you're just like, is this where I'm supposed to be? Am I really a tiger? I don't feel like this is where I'm supposed to be in life. It's so to combat that, you always have to be improving yourself and constantly being enrolled in school. So whenever you turn 38, you get that next diploma or that next certificate, and it gets you to 110K or wherever it is that you're at. You always want to keep going forward. You cannot settle, because if you are built like me, and if you're watching this video and you're this far in it, I know that you're feeling me. You want to keep going. Learn Creole, Spanish, French, whatever it is. But all right, that's a wrap, guys. Thanks for watching my videos. I am registered in CAT scan, X-ray, and MRI, master's in healthcare, going towards a PhD in healthcare administration. I am certified in radiology administration. So if you have any questions about anything that I do or my path or what pays what, I'll share with you in the comments. Just hit me up. But all right, It's a wrap. Peace.